Good morning, children. How are you all today? Yes, hope you must be fine. The very first and the foremost reason that your PT1 examination is also over now. So you must be relaxing. In this phase of your relaxation, rather, children, let us come to discuss, to analyze, to comprehend the question paper. Okay, what you had already given the test, you appeared and you scored good marks as well. Fine. So this is for your friends, this is for others and for everyone in fact who did very well and who missed their one or two question or four or five question that we are going to discuss in fact. Fine. Okay. As you know and you are well aware that we had, or this question paper, it consisted the two sections in fact. Section A where you had 40 marks question of MCQ, means 40 question with various options, with four options, multiple choice question. Fine. So basically today we are going to discuss those 40 questions of MCQ. As you know that in the changed pattern of board, 12th board in fact, CBSE board had introduced 20 questions with multiple choice. That's why this is one extra step in fact, children, to ensure your foolproof preparedness. Fine. So the question paper, the general instruction as you used to get, and just afterwards, okay, you'll find the first question. Now come to first question in fact, children, that this question, first question told, first question asked that alliance was formed, means dash alliance was formed by USSR. Fine. So now come to their option. Non-aligned movement, can it be the answer? Because USSR, Soviet Union, has very less to do, nothing to do during those days with non-aligned movement. Southeast Asian Treaty Organization, it was an organization that was the that was the outcome of the thinking or the ideological outcome of United States of America. So in the Asia, in fact, Southeast Asian Treaty Organization came into existence. The B option is the Warsaw Pact. It came into existence in 1955 to counter the impact of NATO that had already come into existence in 1949. So your right option is B, Warsaw Pact. Fine. Now come to question number 2. The Western Alliance headed by the US represented the ideology of liberal democracy and what? Communism, socialism, capitalism, or none of these. As it is the ideology of the US and the Western Alliance, so certainly communism cannot be the answer. Socialism won't be the answer, because with the liberal democracy, the Western world and the Western Alliance, that too headed by US, it would be, or the correct answer would be, capitalism. And this question is frequently asked, as we have discussed earlier also, that the combo pack, what we say, the combination of the ideology of liberal democracy and capitalism. So here the capitalism is the right answer. Fine. Now question number 3. The US action was intended to stop the dash from making military and political gains in Asia and elsewhere. Okay. Soviet Union, Japan, Germany, none of these. Let us come from the second option. Japan. Japan was the victim. US dropped 2 atom bombs, or the world saw so far the rarest of the rare instances of use of atom bomb. It was only this in the year 1945. on the two cities of Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, Germany, because Germany has been thrashed, literally defeated. So Germany cannot be the answer. Soviet Union, US dropped two atom bombs so that Soviet Union could not take any military gain or political gain in Asia, okay, or in any other part of the world. For this purpose, this action has been taken by the US. Means which action? Dropping of two atom bomb. Okay. Question number 4. A.K. Gopalan, veteran leader of those days, and he was the founder member of, or not only founder, we can't say in fact, because A.K. Gopalan was initially a Congress worker, but he found his ideology very close to the ideology of Communist Party of India. So in 1939, as we have discussed, in 1939, he joined Communist Party of India, CPI. That's why the first option, CPI, is the right answer. CPIM, Socialist Party, Kisan Mazdoor Praja Party. Kisan Mazdoor Praja Party later on is the breakaway faction of the Socialist Party, in fact. So those options cannot be right. The right option is CPI. Number 5. The PRI exercised power in Mexico for almost dash decades. How many decades? PRI in fact stands for the Institutional Revolutionary Party. Okay, so this party had ruled almost for 6 decades in Mexico. Fine, clearly given in your text and as discussed by us. So the 6th decade is the right answer. Cold War. Very important concept of Cold War. That what does Cold War means in fact. Okay. So, was it a hot war? Was it a direct war? Was it a superpower rivalry? Hot war it wasn't, because it was Cold War. Direct war didn't take place during the Cold War, during the era of the Cold War. So it means some direct war took place, not between US and the USSR. So it can it mean direct war? Superpower rivalry. Yes, this option can be considered, but when we are finding the most appropriate answer, yes children, always keep in mind that see the option and you need to choose the most appropriate one. So the most appropriate here is tensions between superpower. Okay. Now come to question number 7. Which among the following statements about the Cold War is wrong? It was a competition between the US and the Soviet Union and their respective allies. This is the right statement. Competition it was really. Second, B. It was an ideological war between the two superpowers. Yes, it was. Number C. It triggered off an arms race. It really triggered off an arms race. D. The US and USSR were engaged in direct wars. This one is the wrong statement. So the answer here is D. The US and USSR were engaged in direct wars. Number 8. NIEO aimed for. NIEO stands for New International Economic Order. So it was basically their emphasis was on economy part. Fine children. So fair information order can't be the answer. Fair global order won't be the answer. Fair economic order will be the right answer. So fair economic order. Okay. Number 9. Which among the following statements doesn't reflect the objectives of NAM? Number 1. A. Enabling newly decolonized countries to pursue independent policies. Doesn't reflect the objective means which are not the objectives, or which one doesn't reflect, which one is not the objectives of NAM, that we need to choose here. Enabling newly decolonized countries to pursue independent policy, it was. Not joining any military alliance, it was also right. Following a policy of neutrality on global issues, yes. Now here, neutrality and the isolationism was not had, or these were not the policy of the or objectives of NAM. That's why following a policy of neutrality on global issues doesn't reflect the ideology, in fact. Okay, it doesn't reflect the ideology. Okay, so following a policy of neutrality, the neutral policy, it doesn't follow. Your question is doesn't reflect the objectives now and focus on elimination of global economic inequalities. Okay, most appropriate would be your that following a policy of neutrality on global issues. They are highly active. They cannot be neutral, in fact. Okay. Number 10. LDCs stand for. Very simple concept here. Okay. First option is your last developed countries. Can't be the right answer. Last decolonized countries. This also can't be the answer. Then least developed countries. So LDC in fact stands for least developed countries. Okay. Number 11. What is Truman Doctrine? Who is Truman in fact, children? We had discussed, and some of you had also, I think, while discussion, had asked the question regarding this Truman Doctrine. In fact, the person, Truman was American President Harry Truman, in fact. Okay. And this person, the American President, in fact, okay, he was of the view that somehow we need to contain, we need to restrict the ideology of communism. Okay, so US President Truman, in fact, he gave a concept. Okay, he gave a concept that communism must be restricted, communism must be limited, must be contained. That's why it was uh, the policy, this was the policy of containment of communism, and it was initiated by US President Harry Truman. Okay, what happened in fact that in 1947, just before our independence, means beginning of 1947, Britain formally requested for the United States to take over its role in supporting the royalist Greek government. Okay, and when there was an attempt to end the Greek revolt later on in 1952, then both Greece and Turkey, they also joined NATO later on. Okay, so that their stability must be guaranteed. So this doctrine, this policy got extension also. Okay, that's why this policy came into existence to contain the Soviet expansion. Okay, and as a result, this was the American foreign policy to contain Soviet geopolitical expansion during the Cold War. Fine. That's why this policy is known as the containment of communism initiated by US President Truman. Fine. Now come to next question, that is your question number 12. Third world countries stand for. Third world countries, what does or what do it stand for, the third world countries? See the option, what do you have? That states of Asia and Europe, it cannot be the answer. States of Europe and Africa, Europe cannot be the answer. America and Africa, America cannot be there. Yes, Africa will be there, Asia will be there. D is states of Asia and Africa, which became independent as a result of decolonization process after the Second World War. So D is your right answer. Question number 13. NIEO means. Okay, as earlier we had NIO aimed for, here simply abbreviation, expansion of NIO, New International Economic Orders. Very similar term, Earth Order, Environment Order, Education Order had been given for you to confuse, means to check that you do have a sound concept. So the right answer is New International Economic Order. Fine. Question number 14. Dash alliance was formed by USA in Southeast Asia. Which alliance was formed by USA in Southeast Asia? Fine. Question number 14. So it was very simple concept. SEATO. SEATO, we also say it Southeast Asian Treaty Organization. So that they could check the Soviet Union from any kind of gain, political gain, military gain, economic gain. That's why it reached in Asia also and had a organization, had a treaty. Question number 15. Which one of these is not the founder of NAM? Joseph Broz Tito of Yugoslavia. He was. Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. He was also. Megawati of Indonesia and Pandit Nehru of India. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was there. Now, Indonesian president had been there, but name was not Megawati. Okay, Megawati became the president later on. In fact, those days, her father has been the president and it was Mr. Sukarno. Fine. So, right option is your C, Megawati of Indonesia. Okay. Now, question number 16. Which conference was held in 1972 by the United Nations? Was it number option A, United Nations Conference on Education, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, United Nations Conference on Investment, and Conference on Trade and Defense? So, option is B. Okay. In the year 1972, it was United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Okay, in this context, we discussed the LDC, and when the LDC nation, they demanded, they had their four most important demand. Okay, they made their four most important demand. Fine. Question number 17. The famous speech is known as Tryst with Destiny. Who had given it? Was it Mahatma Gandhi? Was it Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel? Was it Subhash Chandra Bose or was it Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru? So, as discussed by us in the famous speech, this famous speech had been delivered in the midnight 14th, 15th August, okay, by addressing our Constituent Assembly. Fine, by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Okay, question number 18. Two nation theory was advanced by. Who had advanced the two nation theory? League of Muslims, Dhaka Muslim League, Lahore Muslim League, or Muslim League? So the right answer is your Muslim League. Okay, that Hindus and Muslims are two different entities and they both can't live in one nation. So they demanded for it. Number 19. The Muslim population in India accounted for dash percent in 1951. Okay. So what was the percentage in fact? 10%, 12%, 14%, 16%. Okay. In detail we discussed it that by that time the Muslim population in India accounted for 12%. Okay, year was 1951. As per the data we do have of 1951, 12% we do have of Muslims in India, means Muslim population accounted for 12%. Number 20. The British Indian provinces were directly under the control of. Who had control? Under whom control were the British Indian provinces? Okay. Was it British government, provincial government, princely estates, or none of these? So, the answer is that the name itself suggests British Indian provinces. So, all these provinces were directly under the control of the British government. So, right option is your option A. Fine. 21. City or cities known as communal zones was or were? One city, two city, three city. So Lahore, Kolkata and Amritsar. In fact, and most unfortunate thing that these three cities, Lahore, Kolkata and Amritsar, okay, these three cities children, they were known as the communal zones, seeing the large number of violence, okay, loss of life, damage of property had no limit in fact. So these three cities came to be known as communal zones. number 22 question number, who are known as Rajakas. Rajakas, in fact, first option is your military of Nizam, military of the King of Manipur, paramilitary forces of Nizam, paramilitary forces of King of Manipur. In context of Manipur and Nizam, in fact, options had been given. So was it a military of Nizam? Here some students might get confused that it was a military of Nizam. Manipur had nothing to do with it here. Rajakas basically were the forces of Nizam of Hyderabad. Okay, so was it a military or paramilitary? Now the question, you need to distinguish between these two. So Rajakas were the paramilitary forces, not the military, not the full-fledged military, full-fledged armed forces, which paramilitary forces. Okay, just like we do have nowadays in our country CRPF, paramilitary forces. Okay, 23. The first part of India to hold an election based on universal adult franchise was Junagadh, Hyderabad, Manipur, Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir had problem, some sort of problem, some kind of problem we are facing till date. Can be the answer. Junagadh, Hyderabad were not the lucky one, in fact. So it was Manipur, the first part, okay, where election has been held, and that too on the basis of universal adult franchise. You will be surprised, children, that this credit lies with Manipur, in fact, and that too it took place in the month of June 1948. Okay, and just after it, this state became a constitutional monarchy because king had been ruling there. It was King Bodha Chandra Singh, King of Manipur, Maharaja of Manipur rather. Fine. Now come to question number 24. Let's see, the question came here. The Maharaja of Manipur signed a merger agreement in which month and year Maharaja of Manipur signed a merger agreement, children? Okay, this is your question number 24. So September 1947 we got independence. This cannot be the answer, isn't it? September 1948, election has taken place in June. Merger agreement has not been signed. September 1949 is the answer, as discussed by us in detail and clearly mentioned in your textbook. Okay, that in September 1949, Maharaja signed a merger agreement without consulting the popularly elected Legislative Assembly of Manipur. And for this reason, the resentment, okay, continued for a longer duration there. Come to question number 25. First of all, the ruler of Dash announced that the state had decided on independence. Was it Kochi? Was it Calicut? Was it Hyderabad? Was it Travancore? So the right answer here is Kochi, Calicut, Hyderabad were not there. It was Travancore, in fact, children. Travancore was the first part that announced, okay, the ruler of Travancore announced that state had decided on independence, and thereafter it had been followed by the Nizam. Fine. So first here it was the Travancore, that's why right option is your D, Travancore. 26. The Constitution of India was adopted on. Okay. The Constitution of India was adopted on. Here you had the option, you will find here that what was the date, in fact, when our Constitution of India was adopted. Fine. It was the option, you will find here that January 24, 1949, January 26, 1949. In fact, the adoption of our constitution, it has been done on November 26, 1949. Okay, it was done on November 26, 1949, children. Okay, so on that particular date it has been done. Fine. Here option, the right option will be your option, which one? Option B. And you need to a rectification will be required here, that it will be September, sorry, November 26, 1949. Fine.